Friends, Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to talk to you today about something that we all are concerned about, that we all find important, that we all are concerned about to the deepest levels of our souls. I'm going to talk about the future. We all care about the future. We all have a future. It's important to each of us. And we're all concerned about it because throughout all of time, there has been this trend of the one generation to be threatened by the new generation to a degree. There's always the old slogan that the youngsters are ruining everything. And sometimes it's true. Quite often it's true in certain ways. But what you often find in history is that each generation, each time period is like a person. It's different from every other time period, with its unique strengths, its unique weaknesses, and the only constant is change, is difference, unique as a snowflake. And the amazing thing about this is that every single person has something to teach everybody else. And every single time period has something beneficial and positive that it can teach and benefit the world in. And looking forward into our future right now, what do we see? We see a lot of uncertainty. We see a lot of terror, a lot of fear, anger. There's a lot of potential for great and terrible things to happen. And this scares us. This terrifies us. But should we be scared of it? Should we be scared of our future? There are apocalypses looming in our future. But I don't think we should be afraid of them. Why is this? Why is the future bright and optimistic? Why can we look into the future with confidence and know that it is going to be a good one for the human race? Why is this? Because there is one event that is inexorable and inevitable. It will happen, whether we like it or not. And it is awesome. It is amazing, it is powerful, and it will transform our world in a way that has never been transformed before. And this event is the Singularity. You might have heard of it before, you might have heard it mentioned, not sure exactly what it is. I'll explain it in a short nutshell for you. Technology does not produce itself in a linear fashion. It is not a straight line of growth. Technology grows at an exponential rate. What this means is that for millennia, it's been a flat line, more or less. We've just kind of been puttering along, learning about the same much this next year as the previous year, 1 century to the previous century, with ups and downs here and there, of course. But it's starting to increase. The rate of technological progress is accelerating faster and faster and faster. We are now at the elbow of that exponential curve. We are learning more and inventing more and developing more in 1 year than we learned in the previous 50, or in this last 50 years, in the previous millennia. The rate of technological advancement is accelerating every day. But what does this mean for us?
Stress.
True. The stress of change. Transformative processes are destructive. There's a lot of creative destruction going on. There's a lot of old things that are becoming obsolete at a rate faster almost than they're invented, but they're being replaced by such a huge multiplicity of options and beautiful and amazing things that it almost doesn't matter. But what does this mean for us? What does this look like practically? Because honestly, singularity is often seen as an apocalypse, as a terrifying thing, when suddenly, at the point of mathematical infinity, when the rate of exponential growth becomes infinity, when technology advances so fast that we invent more every single minute than we invented in the rest of the human history, what does that look like? It's a scary prospect when you think about it. But it could be a good thing. It could be an absolutely amazing thing. Because look at what technology does for us. I'm going to look at a very small, simple example. Broadband internet. Something we all almost think of as a necessity of life, almost like breathing air. But when provided to a third world country, what does it do? You think, play video games, that's going to help them a lot. No, actually you can correlate precisely the amount of broadband that is added to a third world country to their growth, to their economic well-being. Simply by adding internet, you can transform a third world country to a first world in a matter of a generation or less. What does this look like on the ground? There's a person recently who figured out that using GPS and social networking with internet in a third world country, she can use a tractor like Uber and go to different farms and provide plowing and tilling for people that would have to do it by hand otherwise because they can't afford their own tractor. Increases her income by 5-fold and more, and produces everybody else in her entire village suddenly can now grow more food than they can and are now not starving, simply because of the addition of GPS. Think about this across the entire world. Because what happens with the singularity is that the cost of innovation drops. The kinds of things you can do now with the resources you had 10 years ago blows the mind. We have more technology in the singing card for Christmas than we had in the space shuttle. Think about that. Now think about what's going to happen in the next 20 years and the kinds of good that can do for the world. Look also at cross-disciplinary communication. Because in the old days people had so much difficulty learning that they had to dedicate their entire life to one special narrow field and forget and ignore everything else. But now, because of the availability of information, because of the efficiency that is provided by technology, we are able to broaden our horizons and connect with people we would never have been able to connect with before. A biologist can talk to a neurosurgeon. A neurosurgeon can talk to a materials engineer. They can talk to an astrophysicist and create something that solves how to update your Twitter feed. It's incredible the kinds of things that you discover when you bring disparate bodies of knowledge together. This is one of the mechanisms that is growing in Singularity, but it is also one of the greatest things because it provides useful solutions to everyday problems such as cancer, such as heart disease, traffic problems, car accidents, plane accidents. All these different kinds of things are things that can be solved with technology. The technology that is on our doorstep. Look also at resources. Look at the resources that are saved through the efficiency of technology. In the old days, we used solar power. By means of grass, we converted it into carboniferous fuels, which we then fed to a kinetic converter, which is also known as a horse. And this was incredibly useful, but also incredibly inefficient. You had entire acres dedicated to getting 1 horsepower. Now, we can have a few centimeter solar chip that gets twice that and does so much more. In the future, we'll be able to be more efficient in the use of our energy, more efficient in the use of our fuels. Make it so that energy becomes so cheap, so available, that every single person in the globe has the ability to feed themselves, to educate themselves, liberated from the burdens of poverty. This is not something like we're going to have flying cars in 10 years, though that is possible. It's always been possible. But the issue isn't a specific technology and its imminency. It's the indefatigable trend. It's a statistical fact, the law of progress. That technology is coming and is changing the world, and it is doing it for the better because people on the whole use it for good. Thank you.